Gene Kelly's scream echoed through the empty Broadway rehearsal studio as Tommy Brennan collapsed to the floor, clutching his chest. For 17 seconds, Kelly knelt beside his best friend and dance partner, watching the light fade from Tommy's eyes while his own heart shattered into pieces that would never properly heal. It was 11:23 p.m. on September 14th, 1943, and Kelly had just killed the person he loved most in the world. The dance routine that stopped Tommy Brennan's heart was supposed to be Kelly's masterpiece, a revolutionary 8-minute sequence that would redefine what American audiences expected from musical theater. Instead, it became the secret that would haunt Kelly for the rest of his life, the guilt that would change everything he thought he knew about art, ambition, and the price of perfection. What happened in that rehearsal studio would never appear in any biography, any interview, any public record of Kelly's career, because some truths are too devastating to share, and some secrets are too heavy for anyone else to carry. The friendship that ended in tragedy began in the most unlikely place, a Pittsburgh unemployment line in 1932. Tommy Brennan was everything Gene Kelly wasn't. Quiet where Kelly was intense, patient where Kelly was driven, content with small victories where Kelly dreamed of conquering the world. They were both 20 years old, both desperate for work, both trying to figure out how to turn their love of movement into something that could pay rent and put food on the table. "You are Gene Kelly," Tommy had said when they found themselves standing next to each other, waiting to hear about a job teaching dance at a local community center. "I have seen you perform. You are incredible." Kelly had looked at this soft-spoken young man with kind eyes and calloused hands and felt something he had rarely experienced. Recognition. Not admiration, not competition, but the simple acknowledgement of one artist seeing another. "Thanks. You dance a little, nothing like you. But I love it." That conversation led to a partnership that would define both their lives for the next 11 years. Tommy became Kelly's constant companion, his dance partner, his sounding board, his closest friend. Where Kelly was fire, Tommy was earth. Grounding, stabilizing, making it possible for Kelly's innovations to take root and flourish. They worked together through Kelly's early struggles in New York, sharing a roach-infested apartment on the Lower East Side, surviving on day-old bread and whatever small jobs they could find. Tommy never resented Kelly's greater talent, never competed for opportunities that clearly belonged to his more gifted friend. Instead, he became Kelly's most devoted supporter, the person who believed in Kelly's vision even when Kelly himself had doubts. "You are going to change everything, Jane," Tommy would say during their darkest moments, when they were both wondering if they had made a terrible mistake leaving Pittsburgh. "You are going to show the world that dancing can be more than just entertainment. You are going to make it art." Tommy's faith in Kelly's potential was absolute, unwavering, and ultimately fatal. By 1943, Kelly had achieved the breakthrough they had both dreamed of. Pal Joey had made him a Broadway star. Hollywood was calling, and the future seemed limitless. But Kelly couldn't imagine pursuing that future without Tommy by his side. "Come with me to California," Kelly had urged his friend as movie offers started pouring in. "We will be a team. Kelly and Brennan. We will revolutionize film dance the same way we have been revolutionizing theater." Tommy had laughed, but not unkindly. "Gene, you don't need me anymore. You haven't needed me for years. I am just the guy who helps you work out your ideas. You are not just anything. You are my partner. You are my best friend. You are the only person who understands what I am trying to do." That conversation led to the compromise that would destroy both their lives. One final collaboration before Kelly left for Hollywood. A dance piece so revolutionary, so technically demanding, so artistically ambitious, that it would serve as Kelly's farewell to Broadway and Tommy's introduction to the broader dance world. "We will create something that has never been done before," Kelly promised Tommy. "Something that shows everyone what you are capable of. Something that gets you the recognition you deserve." Tommy agreed, not because he craved fame or recognition, but because he could never say no to Gene Kelly's dreams. The routine Kelly choreographed for their final collaboration was unlike anything either of them had attempted before. It combined Kelly's athletic innovations with complex partnering that required split-second timing, absolute trust, and physical conditioning that pushed both dancers to their absolute limits. It is ambitious, Tommy said during their first week of rehearsals, sweat pouring down his face as he struggled to master a sequence that demanded superhuman coordination. It is revolutionary, Kelly corrected. It is going to change how people think about what two dancers can accomplish together. What Kelly didn't consider, what he refused to consider, was that revolution always comes at a price. The warning signs began appearing in the third week of rehearsals. Tommy was losing weight despite eating normally. Dark circles appeared under his eyes, and he developed a persistent cough that he dismissed as a result of the dusty rehearsal studio. Maybe we should ease up a little, Tommy suggested after a particularly brutal 8-hour session. Give our bodies time to adjust to the demands. Kelly's response revealed how completely his artistic vision had consumed his judgment. Tommy, we don't have time to ease up. This routine is going to open doors for both of us. We need to be perfect. Perfect. The word that would echo in Kelly's nightmares for the rest of his life. As September stretched toward its end, the rehearsals became increasingly intense. Kelly pushed both himself and Tommy beyond any reasonable limits, driven by a vision of artistic achievement that had blinded him to everything else, including his friend's gradually deteriorating health. Gene, I think I might need a day off, Tommy said on September 13th, his voice weaker than Kelly had ever heard it. One more day, Tommy. We are so close. Just one more day, and we will have something no one has ever seen before. Tommy nodded, because he had never been able to disappoint his friend, and reported for rehearsal on September 14th, despite feeling worse than he had ever felt in his life. The routine they were perfecting required Tommy to execute a series of increasingly complex lifts and catches, while Kelly performed aerial maneuvers that defied conventional understanding of what human bodies could accomplish. It was breathtaking when performed correctly, and potentially catastrophic when performed by someone whose body was operating beyond its capacity to sustain such demands. They had been rehearsing for 6 hours when Kelly decided to run through the complete routine one final time. Perfect run, Tommy. No stops, no breaks. Let's show this piece what we have learned. Tommy nodded, though Kelly would later remember that his friend's face was unusually pale, his breathing more labored than the rehearsal warranted. They began the routine with the fluid precision that had characterized their partnership for 11 years. The first 4 minutes were flawless. Kelly's innovations supported by Tommy's steady strength, both dancers moving with the synchronicity that only comes from deep mutual trust and countless hours of shared practice. Then they reached the climactic sequence, a series of catches and throws that required Tommy to support Kelly's full weight while executing his own complex footwork. It was the most demanding portion of the routine, the moment when everything they had worked toward would either culminate in triumph or collapse into failure. Kelly launched into the aerial sequence, trusting completely in Tommy's ability to catch him, support him, guide him through movements that existed at the very edge of human possibility. That is when Tommy's heart gave out. Kelly was in midair when he saw his friend's face change, the concentration replaced by confusion, then fear, then something that looked like apology. Tommy's hands, which had caught Kelly flawlessly hundreds of times before, suddenly couldn't coordinate the movements necessary to complete the catch. Kelly crashed to the floor as Tommy collapsed beside him, both men falling in a tangle of limbs and shattered dreams, but only one of them got back up. Tommy, Kelly crawled to where his friend lay motionless, clutching his chest, his face gray with the color that comes when a heart stops pumping blood effectively. Can't breathe. Tommy's words were barely audible. Gene, I am sorry. Don't talk. Don't move. I am getting help. Kelly scrambled toward the studio phone, but even as he dialed, he could see that Tommy was slipping away. By the time the ambulance arrived, Tommy Brennan was gone. The official cause of death was heart failure, brought on by extreme physical exertion, combined with an undiagnosed congenital heart defect. The medical examiner explained that Tommy's heart had probably been compromised his entire life, a ticking time bomb that could have exploded at any moment. But Gene Kelly knew the truth. He had killed his best friend by pushing him beyond his limits in pursuit of artistic perfection. The funeral was small, attended by Tommy's family and a few friends from the dance community who had known him as Gene Kelly's quiet partner. Kelly delivered a eulogy that praised Tommy's dedication, his talent, his generosity of spirit. He spoke about dreams shared and goals achieved, about a friendship that had sustained both men through years of struggle and uncertainty. What he didn't mention was the crushing weight of responsibility that was already beginning to reshape his understanding of everything he thought he knew about art, ambition, and the price of excellence. Kelly never performed the routine that killed Tommy Brennan. The revolutionary 8-minute dance piece that was supposed to launch both their careers was buried with its co-creator. Too painful for Kelly to even remember, let alone share with the world. When Kelly left for Hollywood 6 weeks after Tommy's funeral, he carried with him a secret that would influence every decision he made for the rest of his career. The knowledge that his pursuit of perfection had cost someone's life. The guilt transformed Kelly's approach to working with other performers in ways that no one around him could fully understand. His patience with struggling dancers, his willingness to modify choreography to accommodate different skill levels, his insistence on prioritizing performer safety over artistic ambition. All of it stemmed from the 17 seconds he spent watching his best friend die. Take care of yourself first. Worry about the performance second, became Kelly's unofficial motto when working with other artists. Colleagues assumed it reflected his natural consideration for others' well-being. Only Kelly knew it came from a promise he made to Tommy's memory. Never again would he push someone beyond their limits in service of his own artistic vision. The secret of Tommy Brennan's death shaped Kelly's entire Hollywood career. Though no one who worked with him ever knew why he was sometimes suddenly overcome with what appeared to be groundless anxiety during particularly demanding rehearsals. When other choreographers pushed dancers to their breaking point, Kelly would quietly intervene, finding ways to achieve the same artistic goals without demanding superhuman sacrifices from human bodies. When performers complained about difficult routines, Kelly listened with a patience and understanding that seemed to come from some deep personal experience with the consequences of pushing too hard. "Jane always seemed to know when we were reaching our limits," recalled one dancer who worked with Kelly throughout the 1950s. He could sense when someone was struggling before they even admitted it to themselves. It was like he had some kind of sixth sense about performer safety. Kelly's sixth sense was actually the ghost of his best friend. The memory of Tommy's face changing from concentration to fear to apology in the space of a heart. For 53 years, until his death in 1996, Gene Kelly carried the secret of what really happened in that rehearsal studio on September 14, 1943. He never spoke about Tommy Brennan in interviews, never mentioned their partnership in his memoirs, never allowed the story of their friendship to become part of his public biography. But those who knew Kelly well sometimes noticed him staring off into space during particularly intense rehearsals, as if he were seeing something, or someone, that wasn't visible to anyone else. Gene would get this look sometimes, recalled his longtime collaborator Stanley Donen, like he was carrying something heavy, something he couldn't put down. When I asked him about it once, he just said some burdens are too personal to share. Tommy Brennan's death remained Gene Kelly's most closely guarded secret, the tragedy that taught him that artistic excellence means nothing if it comes at the cost of human life. The routine that killed Kelly's best friend was never performed, never recorded, never shared with the world that might have celebrated its innovation. But the lesson it taught, that the most important thing in any collaboration is ensuring that everyone goes home safe, became the foundation of Kelly's approach to every partnership. Every rehearsal, every moment when he had the power to push performers toward greatness or protect them from the dangers of excessive ambition. In the end, Tommy Brennan's death saved countless other lives by teaching Gene Kelly that some prices are too high to pay for perfection, that some risks aren't worth taking for art, that the most beautiful choreography means nothing if the people performing it don't survive to dance another day. The dance that killed Gene Kelly's best friend became the invisible choreography that guided the rest of his career, a constant reminder that the most important movement in any routine is the one that brings everyone safely home. And perhaps that was Tommy Brennan's final gift to his friend, Not just the partnership that helped launch Kelly's career, but the wisdom that came from loss. The understanding that art without humanity is just empty motion. The recognition that the most revolutionary thing a choreographer can do is value the dancers more than the dance. The secret Gene Kelly took to his grave wasn't just about guilt or responsibility or the tragic end of a friendship. It was about the moment he learned that greatness isn't measured by what you are willing to sacrifice, but by what you are wise enough to protect. Tommy Brennan died so that Gene Kelly could learn to live with the knowledge that some artistic visions aren't worth pursuing. Some perfectionist dreams need to be abandoned. Some prices are simply too high to pay. That lesson, born in tragedy and carried in silence for more than half a century, became the most important choreography of Kelly's career. The dance of responsibility, compassion, and the recognition that the people we work with matter more than the work itself.